Good morning. I am live. I am live. I am live. I am live. I know you guys have been waiting for that for a while because I was not live all last week. All last week, but we'll get into that in a second. Okay, welcome to the Be Your Own Hero Show. No, is that right? Be Your Own Hero Show. Yeah, Be Your Own Hero Show. We got the name of our own show. I've been gone that long. Anyway, so Be Your Own Hero Show. Be Your Own Hero Show. Got my shirt on. Stands for High Emotion Radiates Overflow. High Emotion Radiates Overflow. And I'm your host. I'm Sacred Rights. I am a professional author and speaker. Ashe. Ashe. And most importantly for this show is for you to remember that I am a man recovering from a stroke. I'm a man recovering from a stroke. I had a stroke in July of 2022, 2022, right? And you would think that everything would have resolved itself by then, but things have not resolved themselves. Things have not resolved themselves. So move this a little bit. Yeah. So you can see all of the Manhattan Bridge behind me. So yeah, so that's what I have to say. All right, so as you know, I've been hitting it straight to the meat and potatoes of the show, which is money. I just wanted to make a quick note that I discovered during this past week that I have a lot more interviews than I thought. I thought I had one or two interviews, but I was able to fill all of last week, except for one day, with interviews, and I had more. I had more to give, so I'll be doing that more often. I think that I learned so much more from those interviews myself that I need to do them some more. Yeah, so be tuned for that. Be on the lookout for more Sekou interviews. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's get into some money. So let's do the affirmation. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. I am so happy and grateful to be a multi-millionaire in every area of my life. Ashe, ashe, ashe. Okay, so as you can imagine, a lot of things happened last week, and I'll just bottom line it by saying that I was depressed, right? Like, yes, I had a bevy of doctors I had to see, a bevy of dentists I had to see. I was in somebody's office every day this week, every day this past week. So that was a bit of a charge for me. But I felt uh, depressed, and that came from a few different doctors, a few different voices, a few different things that came out at the same time. So I'll put a pin in it for now, and I'll talk about this more later. But just know that it's not always easy for me. It's not always easy for me. It is not always easy for me. All right. And so today, I really didn't want to do the show. I didn't want to do the show. I wanted to find another interview and post it and fall to the background. But I am asserting my claim that the show helps me. The show helps me. Okay, so sorry about that. I had to get that out of the way. So money. There's been a lot that's happened over the past week, and so I want to start off by saying, yes, I'm still pursuing Forex. Now, Forex is one of many things that you can trade. One of many things you can trade, because once you open the door to trading, you understand that there are lots of things that can be traded. Lots of things, like tons of things that can be traded. So, so Forex is just one example. Now, Forex is an exchange of currencies, like the U.S. dollar versus the yen, right? So it's the same thing as when you're traveling, and you get to the airport of the country you're going to, you have to change your money from dollars to yen. Like you can't do, you have to do that. You have to transfer your money. Well, you don't have to, but it would help if you transport your money from one into the other, right? And so what this is like doing it on a higher level, doing it on a higher level. So we all know, all of us that have traveled internationally, we all know that those fluctuations happen daily, happen, sometimes per month, per per um per minute. Like they go up and down. So depending upon when you cross over and gave them the money, that determines how much money you got back, right? So all that is essentially foreign exchange, which is a longer version of forex. Forex is shortened for foreign exchange, right? So we talk about money. Talk about money. Wait a minute. No, talking about money exchange, exchanging money. Okay, so I'm still doing this. Just wanted to give you a background of what that is. So I'm still doing this, and I'm still having trouble. I'm still having trouble because I'm trying to find what's known as a broker now. A broker in the world of forex is someone who legitimizes you. And there are plenty of companies. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of companies, but a lot of them were made for people outside the United States, which there's something to be said about that too. But regardless, lots of these companies have been set up for people who aren't living in the United States. And the ones that are living in the United States, I've had some challenges with it, two of them. So forex.com is the one I've told you about. Reached out to them, and I've gotten through, but they're they're mm, they're still trying to figure things out. So they asking for more information about me, about my finances, and I think the fact that I had a stroke has messed that up for them. So I'm still trying with them. But now I've also reached out to two more brokers in case Forex doesn't work out. So I reached out to, and obviously I wanted to work out Forex because I already have money in stock at forex.com, but maybe it won't, maybe it will not work out. All right. So I'll tell you about those as they emerge. Right. So I think that's enough for I think that's enough for money right now for Forex. I just know that I'm trying my best to get a broker so that I can start experimenting with small, very small hacks, very small efforts, very small trading, very small trading. All right. So now I want to talk to you about. Well, you know what? I had something I wanted to talk about. I want to talk about Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, but something that happened interesting yesterday. Fee and I are talking. I'm talking about Fee King. Fee King and I were talking, and she asked me about what happened to my money from the sale of my condo. Now, let me explain to you guys, and I think this will be helpful to many of you. Right? So I sold my condo a long time ago now, and I sold a condo in Brooklyn, and I sold it to a young guy who had his parents all involved in it. I guess that doesn't matter, but I'm just remembering as I'm talking. And he bought my condo for around $200,000, right? And then Fee was asking me what I did with the money, and I'd like to talk about this because there's what I did and what I should have done. There's what I did and there's what I should have done with the money. All right. So first of all, I was explaining to Fee that it's just dots and dashes on a dashboard, right? So it's not like I ever saw $200,000, but I knew I had the money because of the dots and dashes on the keyboard, right? Anyway, I traded that money in for a a complex in Nashville. A complex because it was a complex because I was trying to decide between a brownstone, a townhouse in Brooklyn versus this this huge space in Nashville. And so I got caught up by thinking about the huge space and all the money from all the people that were there. I could have I could have 11 units. I could have 11 units versus I could have two. I have two tenants, and so I got caught up with the money. Anyway, I transferred the money, the $200,000 on paper to the complex in Nashville, which was much bigger and more expensive. People ask me that a lot. People try to figure out how I got the thing that cost more money because I think the complex was around 340, 340,000. So people ask me how I was able to afford that. Well, because I didn't have to buy it all told. I just have to buy a little bit of it. All I had to do was show 20%. So 20% of 300. I don't know. My math has not been as good because of the the, the stroke, but let's say around $3,000. I don't know, but you understand it's a lot less than the full amount. So I put that money up, and then I kept the money, and then I rolled myself into this condo complex, right? Now, what I should have done, what I did not know until now, what I did not know until starting the show, is that you always have to pay yourself first. You always have to pay yourself first. You always have to pay yourself first. I'm saying that again for anybody that missed it, because you've got to protect yourself against what can go wrong. So in my case, what went wrong was I was buying. Well, I bought um, a what am I calling it? A gateway. You know, the space in Nashville, but I was still living in New York. So already that's not so good because you know trying to do living with a place that's far away is difficult. Even though I hired a property manager, it's just it wasn't ideal. So anyway, what I should have done was I should have saved that 200,000 that I got from my condo. I should have set aside 10% of that immediately. Immediately. I should have paid myself first, put that money into stocks. Now I didn't know about stocks then. I did not know about the stocks then. I did not know about the stocks then. I keep saying it. I did not know about stocks then because I didn't know. I didn't know. I just didn't know. Right. So, but if I had known, I would have taken 10% of that 200,000 and set that aside. And then I would have had that ongoing. And then when things went sour as they did, I still would have had that little nest egg set aside set aside, set aside. So I still would have that money left to do something with it. What I did is I spent all the money, all the like all the money, like all the money that did not go to funding for the Nashville complex, essentially went in my checking account. Essentially went in my checking account, like this loan, just gone, right? And so I didn't have anything left over. And so when things started going bad in terms of trying to keep up with a a, a property that big, and just a sidebar, what I did wrong, another thing I did wrong was I overreached. See, because what I should have done was gotten a brownstone that I was looking at in Brownstone in Brooklyn, and let that be the learning curve, because I needed to learn how it was with a tenant. I needed to know that. And so instead of doing that, I jumped to 11 tenants. I was like, whoa, whoa, like I did way too much. And so now that I'm understanding this, I'm understanding that you must pay yourself first, and you must, well, maybe that's just it. Maybe that's just it. You must pay yourself first, because again, I would have some money set aside that would have helped me when things started going badly. When things started going badly. All right. So I hope that helps, because I thought about that a lot last night after Fee and I talked about it. Like I would have done a lot better if I had graduated my approach, like move a little bit up, move a little bit up, move a little bit up, instead of moving a little bit up and then jumping all the way up here. Like you don't want to do that. You want to learn as you move, as you move, as you move. So ideally, I would have had one tenant, me and one tenant, and that would have given me of a enough of a time, a way of dealing with things. Well, how do I put this? So enough of a time dealing with the tenant that I would have learned, and then I would have gotten a two family. I would have gotten two tenants, and I would have gotten four tenants. I would have moved up essentially. I would have moved up in small numbers instead of jumping up to the big time. To the big time. All right. Okay, so that's that. And the other thing I want to say is, I still got some time to talk about Richard Kiyosaki. Richard Kiyosaki, man, I don't know what got into me this weekend, but I ran across this video from Richard Kiyosaki. For those of you that don't know, he's the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I ran across him this weekend, and I've been watching the same video over and over and over, over and over and over. I've been watching the same video. And so I've got to tell you that Richard Kiyosaki is someone I've referenced here a lot, but my memory hasn't been as ideal as before. So what I'd like to say is that what's interesting is I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it. Let me read it. All right. So I'm going to read this. This is Richard Kiyosaki talking. I had two fathers, one a rich one and a poor one. One was highly educated and intelligent. He had a PhD and completed 4 years of undergraduate work in less than 2 years. You hear that? Completed 4 years of undergraduate work in less than 2 years, right? He then went on to Stanford University, the University of Chicago, and Northwestern University to do his advanced studies. all on full financial scholarship. Right? Right? The other father, oh yeah, so the other father never graduated from the 8th grade, right? And it might surprise you to know, it surprised me, might surprise you to know that the rich dad he's talking about is the one who never finished 8th grade. The rich dad he's talking about is the one who never finished 8th grade. Yeah. The poor dad is the one he's talking about. PhD, finished his work early, all these things, didn't make it. Didn't make it. And so there's a lot I can say about that. But let me just say this. The father, the PhD doctor, the PhD father would always talk about what he couldn't afford, right? Whereas the eighth grade graduating doctor would always say, no, don't worry about what you can afford or not. Ask yourself how you can afford it. How you can afford it, right? So the father who had the PhD and all the accolades was always hung up on money and in a negative way. In a negative way. Oh, I can't afford that. I can't afford that. Whereas the one who graduated from who graduated from 8th grade would say, how can you afford it? How can you afford it? Ashe, that's serious stuff. Because one is about imagination. And look at the difference. So look at the difference in how you give up the accolades and you expect that to be the winner, right? You expect the one who has a PhD, who finished his schoolwork early, who did all these things, you expect him to be the winner. But no, he's the loser in this case, and the loser in many cases out here in the world. The PhD is not learning about money. It's not learning about money. Not learning about money. Ashe. Okay. I think that's it. I think that's all I got. I mean, I plan on talking more about Robert Kiyosaki because I just think that I've got to reacquaint myself with his learnings because just that part alone of, of being the 8th grade winner, the 8th grade graduate versus the PhD graduate and the 8th grade graduate achieved so much more, just blew my mind. It blew my mind. All right, so I think I'm gonna finish early today. A few minutes, back up a few minutes. Let me just check my what is it called again? My chat. Is Fee King inviting everybody. Linda is saying thank you for being live. Thanks, Linda. I was thinking about you, Linda. Because I saw your name pop up on some of the interviews. I was like, oh, I wonder if Linda is keeping an eye out for me. So I appreciate you. I appreciate you. And shout out to Curtis Fun. I don't know what I was talking about, but I believe you. $6,000. And thanks for Linda. Thanks for Fee King for cycling everything. So I hope this made some kind of sense because I combined two things. I combined two things that kind of come out to be the same thing, So let me know in the chat if me talking about my own issues with real estate are helpful to you because I can talk more about that. All right. Okay, so that's it. That's it. And thank you for being with me. Thank you for hanging out with me. And I'll get to it. I'll be talking more about, what bothered me about this week too. All right. Be more than a hero. Be, what's my thing? Um, you are, oh, shoot. You are, I'm sorry, I can't think of it. I can't think of it. You are more than, sorry, I can't think of it. I'll look it up tonight and I'll have it ready tomorrow. All right, folks, I'll see you later.